Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I am one of your hosts, Michael Liebowitz. The other host is the lovely Persephone. She's here with a great topic. Please remember that we love the super chats, super stickers over here. And that's all I have to say. Now it's on Persephone.
Please don't forget to go and follow us on Twitch and watch on Twitch and find us on Spotify and go buy merch. All of those lovely things. So I sent you an article that I thought was kind of interesting, and if you don't want to talk about that, I have some topics that were discussed on the ethics subreddit that will get you nice and pissed off. So,
Well, I'm going to let you decide what you would like to do as I share this real quickly with Mr. Pellegrino.
so I do want to talk about the article that I sent, which was it was an article from Neuroscience News that said most people overestimate their moral courage under pressure. And I thought that that was very interesting because it's something that I recognize and also something that I've been thinking about recently.
All right.
Did you did you read the article?
I did read the article.
What did
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what did you think?
I am very skeptical of social psychological experiments like that done by Dr. Milgram. I'm very familiar with the experiments. They were actually done in New Haven, Connecticut, which is maybe 45 minutes to an hour from where I am right now. Years ago, Brent McCall and I wrote a rather extensive critique of both Dr. Milgram's experiments and the bystander effect related to the Kitty Genovese murder in New York. So, if you hold all things equal and you boil and you heat water to 212 degrees, water boils every time. Every
Okay.
time. That's science. This is a situation where human beings ultimately have free will. So, thinking that you can conduct experiments along the lines of the natural sciences is misguided. It can tell you what a majority of people do under the contrived circumstances that you've put together, and that's about it. Even the Milgram experiments, 35% of people didn't go all the way to the end when they're in shocking the people. There's also such a thing called demand characteristics. So with demand characteristics, when people know that they're being studied, they behave in ways that they think you want them to behave. So in the case of the Milgram experiments, they tell these people that this guy who's strapped down into a chair has agreed to participate in this sort of study whereby he's going to get shocked. So now they bring you in as the guy, and they say you're to administer the shocks, and to see, I forget exactly what it was, to see how much the guy can take, whatever. And I believe they were also told that it can't harm the person, but I might be wrong about that. So under those circumstances, people keep shocking the hell out of this guy. They're not really shocking him, but they think they are, even after the guy's yelling, stop, 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 stop. The problem I have with it is they believe that this guy has agreed to it, right? That's just one thing. Also, not everybody goes along with it. So I don't know how much these things actually tell about real human beings in real life situations. There's been a lot of this that's been, used to explain the phenomenon in Nazi Germany, for instance, where people just kind of go along, with things. So I'm not saying social psychology is useless. I'm not saying these experiments are useless. I'm just saying I'm skeptical of drawing really broad conclusions from them. Similar with the Stanford prison experiments are another one. I don't know what the question is now. Akira says, "How can someone agree with that?" I don't know what he's asking.
Agree with what?
Yeah, I don't know.
The thing that I found interesting was like when they explained they showed people the results of the experiment, and they explained what they were testing. People were more accurate in their
Yes. Okay.
estimating their.
They weren't actually. What it was people were the people that were told about the Milgram experiments. They were asked to predict how many people they think how the average person would respond
Yes.
when being told what to do. So the people who had read the studies were more accurate in predicting how others would respond. But even after seeing the studies, people in general, they said overestimated. Meaning by overestimated is they predicted that they would do better, and by better, not comply with the unethical orders. That the people said that everybody thinks that they're going to do better. Of course, not everybody can be better than average. Another problem is with the question is you're saying they overestimated, but you don't know that because of another psychological phenomenon, and I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, and I wish I could, where people attempt to present themselves in a good light. So do they really think they would do better, or are they just saying they would because they want to impress the person with whom they're speaking? And we don't know that either. God, I can't remember the name of what this. It's another one of these phenomenons in social psychology that I can't remember. And Jim Valiant, of course, is correct in saying that a huge percentage of such studies just are not replicable.
Sorry, I'm just googling if I
No,
can
no,
figure
yeah,
out
that's good. I'm glad. I'm
what you're
glad you're
talking
doing
about.
it. So that's those are some of my issues with studies
Social
like that.
desirability bias, better than average effect.
No, no, no. That's true, but I'm talking about the one where people want to present themselves to others in a.
Social desirability bias, the tendency of individuals to
Okay.
provide answers that make them look good, particularly on sensitive subjects like drug use, voting, or sexual behavior.
Right. So are these people, and they might even have mentioned that in this article. I can't remember this the social desirability bias, but people want to make themselves sound good. So they just because they're saying it doesn't mean they actually believe it. So it's like
That's also true.
they've done studies and they say that they've demonstrated that attitudes don't predict behavior. No, what you've actually shown is that expressed attitudes don't always predict behavior because that's what they're telling you. You don't actually know what the person's attitude is. So you see, there's a lot of issues. I haven't read in social psychology, in a long time, but this is what's coming to my mind of problems that I had with the subject at the time.
So I was going through the ethics subreddit, right, to see what people have been talking about besides the red button, blue button thing. Because if I see another one of those discussions, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Um, so that was one of them. And then I found a few other ones that. So someone they posted a question and they said, is there some kind of moral difference between stealing from a rich person and a poor person? Or is it just evil and that's it, there's no difference? So they go on to explain they're having a discussion, and they and their friends decided that it was more ethical to steal from a rich person. So another commenter comes in and gives quite a detailed answer to the question. He says the concept of levels of morality is that it makes less and less sense the more you break it down. It depends on the context. Gives this long explanation, and a person comes in and says, so you think it's tricky to distinguish between a person who steals to eat and a corporation that commits billions in wage theft? I think that's not a meaningless distinction. So this, what Danny said, both are wrong, but it hurts the rich person financially less. Theft is theft. So this is the conclusion that this thread came to, that both are morally wrong, but if you have no choice but to steal, then it's better to steal from the rich person. But I just like the person that came in, because in the original question, there was no like you're stealing from a corporation that is evil. It was a rich person or a poor person, and they said, "Oh, so you think that a person who has to steal to eat is the same as a corporation who's committing wage theft?" And I just thought that was really funny.
Now I need a nap. Okay. There's so much there. So the wage theft bullshit is just commie crap that I don't even want to entertain. Can we not entertain at least that?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Because I don't. It's so stupid the way that commies alter language. They have their own goddamn vocabulary that doesn't mean what everybody else means by things, and they're just idiots. Right? They're idiots. Okay. Now, the idea is and Robert says here, more ethical should read less unethical. And how on earth would one conclude that? Sure, it's worse to steal a slice of bread from a guy who's only got one and nothing else to eat, but so the hell what? Well, that it's unethical either way. But there's also this. Why don't you look this name up for me, Persephone? Ludwig Lachmann, Lachman. And of course, Jim Valiant, I'm sure, knows exactly where I'm headed with this. If you break into, let's say I'm a millionaire, right? And this, look, theft is, you're stealing, it's not yours, don't do it. You don't, well, I'm stealing from a rich guy, whatever. So, suppose you break into my home, and I'm a billionaire, let's say.
Just
right?
Spell his name again. Sorry.
Lachman. It might be double N at the end. I'm not sure.
It is a double N. Okay.
Okay. So I've got this here. This little thing that says thanks. Now, this isn't accurate. Maybe I can find something around here that would make... I can, as a matter of fact. Right here. So I have this book here. Objectivism, the Philosophy of Ayn Rand. The way that I got that book, in 2005, my mother told me that my father wanted to buy me a chain. I was in prison, and so that I would have something to remember my father by. I told my mother, if you guys want to get me something that I can remember you by, you should get something that has value to me, which a chain has none. I don't care about a chain. I picked 3 books, and that I wanted. This one, Capitalism, a Treatise in Economics by George Reisman, and Faith and Freedom by Dr. Thomas Szasz. Inside this book, it says, you'll never be able to read it, but it says GBMD, given by mom and dad. Both my parents are dead. Somebody breaks into my home, and there's $1,000 in a safe, where there's that book. 100 out of 100, I'd rather them take the $1,000. No thief can know that, because of the sentimental value that I attach to that book. Right? Mm. So who's to say that if you take the slice of bread from the homeless guy, that he's more harmed than I am by you taking that book? You simply cannot compare the intersubjective valuations that different people put on things. You may say physically it does harm that person more to take the piece of bread from him, but how are you going to say that? Well, let me put it this way. Physical harm isn't the only type of harm. There's psychological harm. There's emotional harm. That book has been with me for 21 years. I still consult it. It has incredible sentimental meaning to me. Is that worth to me? Is that worth more to me than the bread is to the homeless guy? How are you going to say? So if you're stealing, even if you're going to get into saying, well, we're going to judge the harm comparisons, and to do less harm than more harm is better, you couldn't possibly know such a thing.
Yeah.
The better thing is, don't fucking steal. It's wrong. Don't try. What good does it do in ethics to try to contrive situations? Well, this is less unethical than this. Why not try to figure out what is ethical and live our lives that way?
I agree with you. Can I tell you one other stupid thing that happened in this
I
thread?
hate Jim Valiant, by the way.
No,
No,
you
I
don't.
love Jim Valiant, but he said he studied under Lockman too. Lockman actually said, and I don't agree with this, he said that basically all economic comparisons, like standard of living, are useless because you can't judge why somebody, what somebody's quality of life is by judging by economic measures. And Jim is absolutely right where he says that utilitarianism fails on the same grounds, because it's the hedonic calculus of figuring out the greatest good to the greatest number. You can't possibly know such a thing.
Yeah. So one other funny thing, not funny, but happened in this thread. So again, the person who answered this question answered in fairly good faith, and then gets slapped with, oh, so you think the blah, 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 blah. So they respond, and then another person says, they just want you to say that corporations are bad and capitalism is bad. Anything else, and they will boo you off the stage. So a person comes in and says, I mean, huge corporations are bad for poor people. Don't you think that's a wild thing to say?
I think it's stupid, but this is what I don't want to. I really I can't like. No, but why? Why? Like, why bring in this idiotic Marxist shit? Like, it's just stupid. Corporations are bad for people. Businessmen are bad for people. Yes, people that are earning a living. And by the way, they're also creating jobs for, yes, they're doing terrible, which is why the world under capitalism is everybody's starving and North fucking Korea is doing great. Like, why do we have to talk about? Please.
People should ask questions. That's what I think. So that I don't have to.
What do you mean?
People
in the audience? You came with a great topic. Two great topics.
We're still talking about these two great topics.
All right, ask me the Marxist question. I don't want to make you feel bad. You do such a great job.
No, there was no question there. I just wanted to tell you that was one of the reactions that people had in this thread. They ended up having a very interesting discussion about the pros and cons of stealing from rich people versus poor people. It was all very stupid, but it was very interesting to read.
Robert comes in with John Rawls. You want to talk about John Rawls?
Sure. The other topic that people discussed is, I hate the phrase "there's no ethical consumption under capitalism." So if you'd like to discuss that, we can do that, or we can discuss John Rawls.
I'll go with the ethical consumption. Hell with John Rawls and his stupid veil of ignorance.
So this person said that they hate the phrase "there's no ethical consumption under capitalism," which is something that I also see get punted around all the time. And they say it works as a shrug disguised as wisdom. It spreads because it feels like moral sophistication without demanding any effort. If everything you buy is tainted, then nothing you do matters, so you can stop thinking. That posture flatters our guilt while protecting our comfort. I feel like he's trying to make such a good point. He just picked such a silly...
I don't even know what he's talking about.
He's saying that basically when people say there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, you have to assume that the people who are saying this is saying that capitalism is terrible, right? So they're saying because capitalism is terrible, anything that you consume under capitalism is bad. So there's no point in trying to fix a broken system. Blah, blah, blah.
I knew Jim. I knew it because Jim studied under Thomas Nagel. So once Robert brought up Nagel, Jim studied under Thomas Nagel. Jim Valiant, let me tell you, Jim, you drive around San Diego with this guy like he knows the history of the trees. It's insane. Do you know, like he breaks out into, you know how these trees got, I think they were eucalyptus trees maybe. What the hell were they? I don't know. But these trees were imported here by the Spanish during the World Fair or some shit. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Jim knows everything. Like you're driving around, oh, this building's been here since 1929 at 3:31 in the afternoon. Like it's insane.
So Jim knows everything about history, and Mark knows everything about celebrity junk.
Yes. Jim, what were the trees? Were they eucalyptus trees? Do they have those in San Diego? What were the trees you told me that they were imported there, and now there's a whole bunch? I forget. Imported from Australia. Yeah, see?
I mean,
But, yeah, so I like, how do I put this? It'd be good if I knew what the hell I was going to say. Then I would know how to put it, but I really don't. Mark, the rich are evil thing, it's just so easy to say, right? It's
yes.
like, oh, they're bad, and, you know, it's the person suffering. It's like I told you the story yesterday about the crying prostitute, right? Like, it's so easy to say, yeah, of course you should go help her. I mean, because, well, who doesn't want to see, who wants to see some poor woman crying in the rain? But when you actually delve into it, okay, how are you going to help? And at what cost to yourself? What are you going to do? That's what I want to know. Okay, so are you going to go pull this woman and offer her something to eat and risk that maybe she has a pimp somewhere who's going to come rob you? Or maybe it's just a ruse that she's out there pretending to cry so someone helps so somebody else can rob you? Maybe she has a hypodermic needle she's going to threaten you with. Maybe she's schizophrenic and won't understand that you're trying to help her. And even if she could be, even if you could, what are you going to do to help her? You're going to buy her a sandwich, and then 20 minutes later, she's going to be back out there crying and hooking. And that's if the money you give her to buy the sandwich doesn't go to drugs. So then you've got to get her to go to the restaurant. And are you going to let her in your car? What are you going to do? So it's so easy to say, well, you know, these poor people and the rich are bad. Okay. By what standard are you talking about? How are you making that judgment? How are you coming to that conclusion? How did that person get rich? Do you even know? Why is it wrong to put forth effort to produce things? And then they have nothing.
Yeah. So
well, I thought you were going to go with something a little more in depth than that, but
there's a cartoon floating around on X, and it's really funny, and it's explains the mindset really well. And it's a cartoon of saying, like, we need to help the poor people and, like, give them money. And they say, it's two people talking, and they say, okay, well, you know, you can get a job and you can help them that way. And the person says, no, I want to give them your money. And it's true. That's what people want. They don't want to give away their own stuff. They want to take from other people, and they don't think about the long-term consequences. They're very short-sighted. They think that you can just give everybody free stuff and then we'll live in utopia.
I've had this conversation with people because I'm not wealthy, people that are better off than me, and they start talking about how, you know, the rich and the this and that. Okay, well then why don't you do for me? Give me some stuff. Give me some money. Because you have more than I do. So why aren't you just giving it to me then? Well, you know, I had a cellmate once who talked about how, you know, there needs to be more equal distribution. People that are wealthy need to do for everybody else. I said, okay, why don't you take the cleaning supplies and go do everybody's cell for them? You could clean everybody's cell. Why not? Well, they can do it themselves. Okay, and people can get a job themselves. And I've seen guys in prison who talk about the same thing. Okay, you've got bags full of commissary. Up it. right? Start giving me stuff. Feed me on a regular basis. Everybody wants everybody else to be more generous. But at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with ethics, because there's nothing ethically that demands or puts a duty on me to run around helping people and doing for everybody else, right? There is an ethical, I don't want to say rule, but ethical standards that say I should do for me, that I should help me, that I should benefit myself. And by the way, if I do that, at least I won't be a burden on other people.
Yeah. My problem is there's nothing stopping a lot of these people from creating the co-ops that they want to live in. No one is stopping you. Go and
Nope.
do it. The example that this person gives of how you can ethically consume under capitalism is, and this was one of the funniest things I've ever read, buying coffee from a co-op that pays above market rates. Why are you paying above market rates? That just seems stupid. Why are you doing that?
I don't know.
Anyway,
It's
I
dumb.
just thought the reason I like reading these
I
things
give you
is
a hard time, and I'm interrupting, and I'm sorry, but I'm not, because otherwise I wouldn't do it. But I give you a hard time, but the truth is you do bring good topics, so keep it up.
every time you give me shit, you
I look handsome.
well, yeah, you always look handsome. No, every time you give me shit, you always have to go like, no, you're amazing. Like, no.
Because I don't want you to think that I don't appreciate it or that I think you're wrong. It irritates me sometimes, yes, but it's still good. You froze.
Anyway,
Why'd you freeze? There you go.
I
You
don't know.
unfroze.
My internet is weird. So the reason I like reading the ethics subreddit, right, is seeing the things that people think about is just truly like, do you guys not have anything better to do with your lives? Because the things that people stress about, I'm like, how is this improving your life in any way? Because I feel like all you're doing is making yourself suffer. Because they ask questions that are so...
What's a bee pitch?
Oh, there is a whine happening, and I think it's coming from your microphone. Mute your microphone quickly. Yeah.
Is it over now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the reason I like to see what people spend time thinking about and what people think are important ethical discussions to have. Here's one who says, do you think fishing as a hobby is ethical? What about sea monkeys?
Okay.
Why hasn't the Mormon Church changed the name of its universities?
All right. Okay, so I have to get in the shower because I have to go pick up my paycheck. But why don't you tell everybody about the great topic we're going to be discussing tomorrow?
Oh, yes, tomorrow at probably the same time as Capitalist Corner, we'll be doing a special episode on religion.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be a fun topic.
It is going to be a great topic tomorrow. We're going to be discussing the harm that religion does to people. It's going to be on our weekend edition of the Capitalist Corner tomorrow at noon on this very channel. And who knows, maybe I can scam talk Jim Valiant into coming on.
That'll be great.
That would be great. All right, everybody. Thank you very, very much. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I hope you join us tomorrow. And I hope you remember to be ethical. Religion versus morality. Yes, Jim. If you want to join me, text me and let me know. All right, everybody. Take care.